Anton here from dropshiplifestyle.com, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about two things that nobody really likes to hear, but two things that are a reality when it comes to dropshipping in 2022. Hopefully not moving forward. Some videos that I make, I want them to be kind of evergreen so people can watch them for years to come. I'm hoping this one is only available with a short lifespan because this stuff ends quick. But again, the fact is it is here now. So what I want to do in this video is quickly talk about supply chain and how that affects dropshipping, and then how about inflation can also affect dropshipping, and go above and beyond that and share some things that we're doing and some things you can do too to overcome them and make sure your business stays as strong and as profitable as possible. Now, if you're watching this and you don't have a dropshipping store yet, but maybe you're thinking about building one and you want to know how these things will affect the business, is it still worth it? What can you do about them? Then stick around as well. And if you're brand new and you want to know how to build a highly profitable semi-automated store and how my team can actually help you do that, all you need to do is go to dropshipwebinar.com, and I will link that up in the description of this video. There you get a free training from me plus a list of 237 profitable product ideas to sell in 2022. Okay, with that being said, let's start with supply chain. So it's no secret, right? For the past, going back since the beginning of COVID, we started to experience for the first time in many people's business careers, supply chain issues. Now, originally, when COVID first started, that was because it coincided with the Chinese New Year, when most factories in China closed. Then they were supposed to reopen. They couldn't because of COVID. It got delayed. So certain industries saw a lot of issues with products coming into their warehouses. Now, you might be thinking, if you've seen other of my videos, or if you're a member of my coaching program, but Anton, don't you only work with domestic suppliers? You're not in China. Yeah, that's true. We don't drop ship from China. We don't drop ship from overseas. But the brands that we sell for, even though they are domestic companies, mostly US companies, and they have products in stock in the US, they still mostly have the products produced overseas. So even though they're US brands with products in US warehouses, they still typically are manufactured abroad, okay? So that originally led to the first round of supply chain issues. Now that was overcome once factories started opening again, once everything started coming back, and everything was good for my timeline on the past few years is just a mess. COVID, totally, it's weird. It's like a weird time warp. But it was good for years and years and years. And then after that, maybe this 2 to 3 year window, we're now hit with this next round of supply chain issues, which, again, if you read or watch anything you've heard about, huge lines of container ships trying to unload at factories, stuff just being delayed, and now factories closing again in China and just being hit, right? So what does this mean for us as dropshippers, and you if you already are, or you if you're planning on becoming one? It means certain products from certain suppliers are not going to be in stock. So when you sell, this whiteboard here, and you go to the supplier where you get it from and say, hey, ship this to Anton, they're going to say, oh, sorry, these were actually out of stock now. There's supply chain issues. They're going to be back in 3 weeks, in 6 weeks, in 4 months, right? You never know. An example, I bought this, I have like a golf simulator in the warehouse space here, and I bought this projector mount that goes off the wall for it, and it's been like 7 months already with that thing that it's been back ordered. So those are the type of issues that can arise when you are drop shipping and when your suppliers are experiencing these supply chain issues. And because we're selling other people's products, when they have issues, we have issues. So what are some things that we're doing and that you can do to overcome this? Well, I'm going to go through a list, and then I'll point you to some other resources we have that can help you even more, right? Because just because this is real and it's happening doesn't mean we're out of business and no one's making money and that's it. Close the stores. Don't do any more research. Just move on. No, it means we adapt like always, right? And again, hopefully these two issues are temporary, but guess what? In business, there's always issues. There's always things changing, which is why we've been adapting now since 2007 when I built my first store. But back to this, when it comes to supply chain, what is the simplest thing you can do to help overcome this? It is simply to add more suppliers. And I'll put /brands, right? And what I mean here are the companies you sell for. Now this, side note, I'm gonna keep going on tangents here because I don't know, this is like a impromptu video because someone in my on my team actually asked if I could make this so they can respond to people with it when people ask about it. But I think, again, it'll benefit YouTube, so you get it too. But when it comes to having more suppliers and more brands, this is something that is important from day one. I don't think you can see it right now. Okay, let's say just back here, right? That it's like a wood laminate panel flooring, whatever. Let's say I wanted to build a store selling that type of flooring, and you probably know I'm not a contractor. I have no idea what it is. But let's say I wanted to build a store selling that. One of the worst things I could do would say, okay, I'm going to build that store and I'm going to find one brand that I'm going to sell for. I'm going to get approved to sell their products. That's the only thing I'm going to upload to my store, and that's it. That's my business. I'm selling for one product or I'm selling for one brand, right? You don't want to do that anyway from the beginning. That's why in the Dropship Blueprint, I teach to find at least 20 different brands to sell for and to have a mix of at least 100 products that you're offering. Well, now, if you've been slacking on that, or if you haven't done it previously, now is the time to expand. Now is the time to circle back to suppliers that might have rejected you 6 months ago or a year ago, try to get approved again. Now is the time to go back to your future competitors' websites, as I refer to them, see if they've added any brands since you did your initial research, reach out to them to get approved to sell their stuff. You could check out the website tsnn.com. That's the trade show network. Look for trade shows in your niche and just add and add and add, because then when, going back to this wood flooring example, or whatever it is, laminate flooring, if I was selling that and supplier A was out of stock, right? If they were really struggling with supply chain, then I can go to my other 19 brands and look for an equivalent, not the exact product, but an equivalent product that they have in stock, and I can offer that to my customers. I can cross-promote it on supplier A's pages. I can stop running traffic to supplier A's products and focus on supplier B if they're the one that has it, and I can have other ways to continue selling, because even though, again, supply chain issues are real, they're not affecting every brand and every product out there. If you look for opportunity, there's plenty of people with plenty of stuff in stock, okay? So that's the first thing I wanted to cover. Okay, next thing I quickly wanted to hit on, this one is a little more advanced, right? The next thing I'm going to give you, you don't do from day one. You do this once you've been up and running. You have cash reserves, right? You have a bankroll because you've been following this for a while. You've been making money. What you can do here is hold inventory. And if you want like a deep dive training into how to do this, you can, and this is, by the way, I don't mean get a warehouse or anything like that, but if you want to deep dive into how to do this, go to the Dropship Blueprint. If you're a member, in Module 4, there's a lesson on supplier relationships, exclusivity, special pricing terms, things like that. I talk about this there as well. But what I mean by holding inventory is, let's just say you've been in business for, I don't know, a year with your dropshipping store, and you were selling rugs, like the rug back there, and from supplier A, on average, you sell 50 of their model 1, 2, 3 rugs a month, right? Then you get their inventory sheet and you see they're down to only 60 of them in stock, and they're not going to replenish their stock. It's not going to come back because of supply chain issues for 3 months, right? Well, then in advance, like, I need this inventory or else everyone else is going to sell it too, and I'm not going to make as much money. Well, in that situation, if you have that experience, if you have that bankroll, you reach out to your sales rep at the supplier, you say, hey, I want to hold the inventory. I want to put down a deposit for it. If there's 60 pieces left, you want those 60 pieces, and you want to keep that as yours. Now, it stays in the supplier's warehouse. It's still drop shipping. You're not seeing it. You're not touching it, but you can give them a deposit based on your relationship with them. The terms will change, but they can hold it for you. Basically, everybody else will be not able to sell it, and as your orders come in, they'll get fulfilled. And then you can even do this when you see new inventory coming in, put down a deposit on that new inventory so it is yours, and so you have the rights to sell it first. Now, again, that is a little more advanced, and that's not something I recommend doing, even if you're established with every brand out there, because it's simply not worth it. Only focus on the best sellers, and then if you want to go this route, it's just an extra layer or level of security. Okay, another thing you can and should be doing when it comes to suppliers you sell for that are struggling or dealing with supply chain issues. This is pre-selling items. Now, this we are careful about, because what you don't want to do is pre-sell items when you really don't know when it's going to be available again. An example would be, what's behind me? I don't know if can you see? Yeah. So there's a bookshelf back there, right? So let's say I was selling that bookshelf for supplier D, and supplier D told me, Anton, we're sold out of this bookshelf. Supply chain issues, don't have that one in stock, sorry. We don't know when it's going to be back, right? But we'll let you know as soon as we can. And I say, okay, do you have any idea? And they say, maybe it's going to be 2 months, but it could be 5. What I would not do, and what I would encourage you to not do, is pre-sell something like that when the supplier can't give you any type of realistic ETA, and they're kind of just pulling things out of there, because then you can pre-sell it, you can get customers that are angry. But when you know that certain products are coming back, let's say supplier, in this case, supplier D, told me, Anton, that bookshelf is currently on the ocean. It's en route to our Gardenia warehouse in California. It's going to be there in 2 weeks. Okay, great. Thank you. How many units are coming in? 1,000 of them. Okay, awesome. Well, then what I would do and what you could do is on that product page is put a note that says something like, ETA for shipping is whatever it is, right? 6/1/22. So before people buy it, they know when it's going to be back, but they can buy then. You have that ETA from your supplier, you pre-sell it, you still bring in the sales, and you don't have to worry about having stuff on your site that people are buying that you can't fulfill. Now, let's say it was that first example though, and this video, guys, I don't know, if you get value from this, let me know by leaving a like. Again, this is more of, I don't know, maybe more of an in-depth video than I typically do here on YouTube. But again, because my team asked if I can make something like this, I wanted to record it. So maybe a little more tangents, maybe a little more in detail, in the weeds in certain areas. But if you appreciate that, if you get value, let me know by giving a like on this. If you're not subscribed already, click that subscribe. We recently got that little, it's so far away. It's the tiniest plaque on the wall. Can you see it there? Where is it? There. That's the YouTube 100K plaque. It's so small, but I appreciate it anyway. So subscribe if you're not subscribed. But back to this, guys. When that supplier, let's say, told me, Anton, 2 to 5 months, we don't know. Okay, thank you. Appreciate the honesty, right? What I would do on that product page on my site, and what I would encourage you to do, is make it so that product is not available to purchase, right? So you can make it so they can't even order it. You could have a button there where they can get notified when it comes back in stock, so people can request that. You can also, and this is what I would highly encourage you to do, is turn off your paid ad spend for those products with no clear ETA. And by the way, I teach you how to do all of this in Module 6 of the Dropship Blueprint in the Google Ads lessons. But don't spend money on products you can't fulfill. And then on those product pages, for example, that bookshelf, list the comparable products. Going back to the first thing I talked about, more suppliers, if you have 3 suppliers that have similar bookshelves on that product page for the one with no ETA, put this product is currently back ordered with no ETA. These products are currently available for immediate shipment, and just link to them on that product page. So then when the organic, the free traffic finds that product page, they can see, oh, well, I don't want to buy something if I don't know when I can get it. I can choose from these 3 products, buy one right now. They get their product right away. You get the sale. You make your money. Everyone is happy. Okay. I'm looking down here because I made some notes to make sure I don't miss anything. And I can't even read my own handwriting. Let me see what this says. 1 second. Okay, yeah, I just had a note here that when the pandemic first started, again, 3 years ago, I don't even know. That's how long ago it was. But when the pandemic first started, I created a YouTube playlist, and it was called Dropshipping During the Pandemic. It's 4 videos long, and a lot of the things that I first talked about then are still very relevant today. So I'm not going to repeat everything I said in those videos, so I did want to let you know that if you want to go deeper into any of these topics, plus a lot more, what I'll do is post a link. I'll post it up as a card on the channel, and then I'll post it in the description. You can watch this playlist I created called Dropshipping During a Pandemic, 4 videos with 4 unique tactics that you can use, and a lot of it has to do with supply chain issues, so it's things you can use now. Okay, let's move on to the second thing we need to discuss here, which is inflation. So this one, I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. But what is inflation? What's happening? Basically money is becoming worth less. Things are becoming more expensive. There's a lot of money in the economy right now, and maybe too much. But let's talk about what we can do to combat this, and what we can, just do as business owners to make sure that inflation, so as our costs go up, we're not losing money, right? So what we don't want, this is basically what we're trying to avoid, right? Let's just say when all was said and done, at this time last year, our net margin, so I'll just put NM, the amount of money we keep, let's say it was 30%. And let's just say inflation was 10%. What we don't want to happen is just have our expenses go up by 10% and then have our net margin cut to 20%, even when we're doing everything the same, simply because costs are going up, right? That's what we're trying to avoid. That's what we're trying to counteract. Now, before I give you some tactics here, I'll just say what I think is going to happen. So with the products, right, our cost of goods sold lead to what we sell products for. So basically here, this is the simple equation, right? I'll put COGS for cost of goods sold. That's supposed to be a G. And then I'll put MAP for minimum advertised price. And that's the price that we sell for. Typically, the way it works is MAP equals 2x or more of cost of goods sold. So let's say cost of goods sold for a product was $500. You would times that by 2. MAP would be $1,000, and you would sell that product or list it on your website for $1,000, right? So this is the equation. Now, what hasn't been happening that much yet, there are some situations with certain suppliers where this is happening, but what hasn't really been happening is the cost of goods sold isn't really going up yet. And maybe you have different experience, maybe not. But again, we work with hundreds of brands, so it really is brand to brand dependent. Because though that cost isn't moving and our margin stays the same, when other costs go up, for example, it could be things like ads or, obviously gasoline is way more money than it used to be now, which leads to a higher shipping cost. Things like that are still going into that same margin there, right? That same spread of, in this case, $500. Where I think this is going is that because inflation is real, suppliers are going to feel this too, and they're going to raise their cost of goods sold. So maybe something that has been $500 wholesale for the past few years now goes to, let's just call it $600. Then that would mean the MAP policy is still the same, minimum advertised price, times the 600 by 2. Then we're looking at a $1,200 MAP, and we're selling it for that. Now, the good thing here is that we have an extra $100 in the spread, right? So instead of 500, we have 600, and we can use those costs to offset the other expenses going up. And I think this is going to be the reality over this coming year. And I think customers, as they're seeing with a lot of different companies already, especially like in the retail space, is that prices are up. My wife actually, just this morning, before I came into the studio, told me our dentist emailed us, and we're on like this family plan. And because of inflation, the family membership, they're raising it 9%. So I think, this isn't limited to drop shipping, but obviously I want to tie it into that because that's what we do. Okay, so what else do I want to mention here? And I'll talk about how to counteract it, but the other thing that I made a note on is just in case this is something that worries you from a business perspective, right? Not from your financial perspective. How to counteract that is to make more money to be able to pay more, which sucks, but that's literally like the only option we have, right? To take care of ourselves. But the thing I can tell you is this is going to affect everybody, right? So this product here, this hypothetical product that maybe cost $1,000 last year, that's now going to cost $1,200. Well, it's not just going to cost $1,200 on your website. It's going to cost $1,200 on every website and every store, because every supplier sells for a MAP. So that's the reality, right? So that's just, it is what it is. Okay, but what can we do to currently make this, this spread more, right? How can we turn, in this case, the $500 cost of goods sold product into something more than a $1,000 sale for us? Well, we can do this through something I've been doing and teaching for a while, but something that's more important now than ever. And that thing is LVO. This stands for Lead Value Optimization. And with this, the goal is to make more money from everybody that visits our stores. So if you want, more on that, and you're a member of Dropship Lifestyle, in one of my retreat talks, I believe it was from Prague, I gave a whole presentation on different things we do here and how to do them in depth. But to give you some examples, and I'll link to that for Dropship Lifestyle members too in the description, but to give you some examples now for things that you could do from today. One of them would be to offer, if you're not doing this already, upgraded shipping, and do it with more of a spread, right? So typically on all of our stores, we offer free shipping, meaning we pay for it. Well, again, because gasoline is more expensive, shipping costs are up. Well, can you now, more than you have before, promote upgraded shipping costs where there's margin built in for you too? So maybe faster shipping, maybe white glove delivery, right? What are the other things you can offer that are going to bring this top line number up and allow you to basically be able to keep more money and keep your margins healthy where you want them, rather than see them go away because money is being inflated. The value of money is going down. Okay, another thing you could do is, I'm just going to abbreviate this, would be extended, not EXP, EXT warranties. So if you're not doing this already, again, watch that talk that I share. I'll link to it below if you're a member of the Blueprint. And I talk about how we can offer extended warranties, and a lot of that is just pure profit. Again, it'll increase the spread, leave more money in your pocket to combat inflation until all prices rise as a whole and MAP goes up also. Another thing, if you're not doing it already, is cross-selling. So for example, if I was selling those bookshelves, that bookshelf back there, and I wasn't already having add-on products on the product pages, maybe I would say, do you want to add these bookends? Do you want to add this, this wouldn't make much sense, but do you want to add the lucky cat? Do you want to add these, decorative sculptures, right? So things like that, that can increase your average order value and keep more money in your pocket from every sale. And I'm going to check my notes to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Talked about that. Okay, one more thing that's pretty simple, but you just don't think of it, right? When you're in the weeds, sometimes you don't think of this. But another thing you could do here is just, can you guys still see this? Let me move it back a bit. Promote higher margin products. Okay, so what I mean by promote higher margin products is that with certain suppliers and certain products from them, the spread will be bigger between your cost of goods sold and MAP. So for example, if there are certain brands you sell for where MAP equals 2.5x cost of goods sold, or where MAP equals 2.2x cost of goods sold, or 3x, right? The ones where there's just more of a spread, so more money for you to keep, you could focus on trying to promote them if you're running alpha beta campaigns on Google Shopping, like I teach in Module 6 of the Blueprint, and everything is just mixed into all products, and you've had your setup there and you haven't touched it and it's working. That's great, but maybe you want to now try to separate it out into 2 alpha betas. By the way, I teach this in the lesson on campaign optimization in Module 6 of the Blueprint, but maybe you want to break that out, keep those higher margin products in their own campaigns, focus on investing more money into those ads so that when the sales come in, your net margins are naturally going up because people are buying the products where there's simply more margin to start with. So guys, those were the notes I had. This is what I wanted to share. Again, supply chain issues are real. Inflation is definitely real. My opinion is, like it always is, business changes, things change. We need to adapt when they do. These are the things that we've been doing. These are the things that I encourage you to do. Are businesses, less valuable now? This is what, I didn't write this down. I was trying to think, like, what did I want to end this with? Are businesses less valuable now than they were a year ago or 2 years ago or 5 years ago? Because that's a good way to judge how is this affecting, in this case, dropshipping as a whole. And the truth is businesses are more valuable now than they were pre this stuff. What I mean by that is the multiples that we're getting now and that our members are getting when they go to sell their stores are higher than they were previously. So as long as you're doing everything right, here you go. Do this, plus everything I teach in the Blueprint. As long as you're doing that, businesses are definitely worth getting into when it comes to the dropship lifestyle model. They're selling at higher multiples and people are making just as much money as they have before. Again, these are some things that we're doing to counteract these 2 issues, some things you might want to do as well. Again, if you got value from this one, guys, do me a favor, give it a like. If you're not subscribed yet, click that subscribe button. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video. See you, everybody.